Hi there, how you doing? Today finally come back to what I was starting there the other day or week uh, about I like owning things, and I was already diving into the owning part of, so now we come back to the things part. And yeah, my favorite example was did I mention it? You know, music. Uh, why I think it is just much more of an experience and much more of a almost event. If you sit down in a chair, or before you sit down, you go to your hi-fi system. You put a CD in or a tape. I love tapes. Does anybody know that? I think back in the 80s, those Nakamichi tape decks that actually, where the auto reverse was not flipping the head, but actually flipping the tape itself. This gorgeous. I never had one, but I think it's still on my list of things that I do want to own one day. Anyway, you put the CD disc, all, that's not vinyl anyway. That's beyond doubt anyway. But you put the thing in, you press the button, you sit down, you have your speakers there in front of you, and they are beautiful things, objects that are crafted with a purpose to actually, already be enjoyed before even being switched on. They are nice. They are, some are imposing, some are smaller. They look nicely crafted, and yeah. So instead of just having some music mysteriously coming from nowhere, you enjoy the physical appearance of the paraphernalia. That's not a good word, is it? You enjoy the beauty of the objects that are related to the music. And equally, if you want to go to a concert, you are, of course, let's say a classic concert, you don't go just to an empty room and there is some music coming from nowhere. You actually go to a room where there are musicians, a musician is not a thing, it's a person, pardon me, but they play instruments. These instruments are actually physical things, and the list goes on and on. I think that the physicality of certain aspects that technically do not require that physicality add a dimension that makes the ordinary extraordinary, that makes the mundane special, and there are qualities that you might argue you need or you don't need. Let's say cameras. One of my photography is one of my hobbies. I do like my DSLR rather than those newer mirrorless cameras, not just because of the battery life, but because of the fact that they are actually heavier. There is a quality to that. It's you feel like you can take them anywhere. You can put a nail in the wall with them, and that gives you a feeling of quality. It's and the list goes on and on. I don't know if that's just me, but I just assume it's not just me. It's just something that is kind of universal. This kind of feeling of quality that your cutlery, your knife, your fork at a dinner table does have to have a certain weight. If it is just an aluminium fork, or then you're already in the realms of then it can be cardboard just as well. The moment it has a certain weight, it has a certain it goes up a level in value, and maybe that's just deep. Maybe it's not a natural instinct, but more some sort of culturally ingrained quality that yes, I think a heavy fork contains more valuable silver than a light fork, and as such it does actually value more. And maybe that just got get carried on and into our reception of valuing weight to some degree, unless it's carbon fiber. Again, I'm very good in actually making an argument and then dispelling it in the next sentence, but well, hopefully you get my point. It's physicality, weight, but also the haptic qualities are actually very important in general, and I think they get lost when they're not longer there, and then you lose an experience that would actually enrich your life. And again, I say designers are not just thinking of objects or the look of objects, because then they would be just stylists. They actually should focus on the experience, and the experience is really involving as many of your senses as possible. So there you go. That's why I say I love things. Hope that kind of information has some value to you, and I leave it to that. And subscribe, like, the usual stuff, and I'll see you next time.